I'll get that to you later. Hold on. Okay. So I am Autumn Hintz. I work for the Walker County School System. I work with federal grants, so title grants, and I also work with the ESOL program here in the school system. And so the purpose of today's meeting is to talk to you guys about our plan that we put in place this year to help improve our district and the things that we offer to our students and our families. And so today is the midpoint progress update because we check in with you at least once every single year. So we want to let you know how those things are going this year that we discussed putting into place last year. So we're talking about our welcome and our purpose right now. We'll talk about the strategic plan, our district goals, the action steps we put into place, family engagement. I'm going to embed that in with our goal discussion, and then there'll be a time for feedback. You'll notice in the middle of your tables, there are full sheets of paper, and this is for giving me feedback here at our in-person meeting. I thought it would be more beneficial if you had those now. That way, if you have a thought while I'm talking, you can jot it down instead of waiting to the end and trying to remember some things that you can give me feedback on or questions that you have. So go ahead and grab one of those. If you don't have a pen with you, we do have extra pens at the back of the room. For anyone that is watching this recording, there will be a QR code and a link listed at the bottom so that you can virtually give me feedback, and so that way I'll have in-person and virtual feedback. So we base our district improvement plan and our action steps based on feedback that we receive from 3 different major sources. We have the Georgia System of Continuous Improvement. We have ESSA, the Every Student Succeeds Act of 2015, and Cognia comes in every so many years and digs in and interviews and looks at our processes, procedures, our student achievement, and then gives us feedback or what are some areas that we can improve on, and gives us some action steps that we can take into consideration. So all of the 3 of those things help us make those decisions to help us better have a stronger school system for our community. Our district strategic plan is our district gets together and we come up with focus areas that we want to make sure that we are addressing through goals and action steps. And we have 4 of those: student success for all, communication and engagement, cultivating and retaining quality teachers, and organizational excellence. We started putting those into place last year, so that may sound familiar to you. Here are our 5 goal areas. For goal 1, we wanted to see an improvement in our reading median achievement percentile scores. They were a 49. We want to see that grow up to a 52. So we want to make sure our goals are reasonable and potentially attainable. We don't want to put this huge goal that's just so unattainable that we give up. So that was a reasonable goal, we felt. Goal number 2 is where we're focusing on math. We had a score of 46 as our median achievement percentile. We want to see that increase to a 49. And that's on our MAP assessment that we do 3 times a year. We want to see that at the end of the year. And then our third goal is that it's focusing on family engagement. With COVID, that kind of threw us off, so we're trying to build that back up. So we wanted to make sure we had a family engagement goal. So during the school year, we want 75% of our Title I families at each of our school facilities. We want each of those families to attend at least one Title I activity that provides them a tool that they can use at home to help support their children academically, and that we show them how to use the tool. So our goal is to build the capacity of our parents to be able to teach them ways that they can help their child academically at home, because a lot of them don't have the strategies or don't feel confident that they can help their child at home. Goal number 4 has to do with professional development. At least 85 of our administrators, our teachers, and our paraprofessionals will state on an end-of-the-year survey that we do each year that they feel that they were at least adequately supported during the school year. So we want to make sure we're not leaving any of our groups out, that we want all of them to feel supported with professional development. And then our last one has to do with a rating where our schools and community rate our school district on how, in lots of different areas, but one area that we saw was not as high as we wanted, had to do with effective leadership for leader, teacher, and staff effectiveness. And so our goal is that at the end of this year that we will score on that standard 5, that we will score effective in that area because it was developing at the end of last year. So we want to make sure we put things in place to fix that. So you're hearing from me first. I have responsibilities for Title I, II, III, and IV, and the ESOL coordinator. And I'm going to be talking to you today about the action steps that I'm overseeing in the district. So one of the ones that we're doing is providing tutoring. We provide tutoring at all of our schools, but this is an extra supplemental tutoring that specializes in tutoring for our homeless students and our neglected students. And so an update on this action step is that we have that put into place. Corey Lowe, one of our social workers, is our homeless McKinney-Vento liaison, and so he takes applications from the schools for additional support for our homeless students. And then I work with our neglected facilities. We have the cottage and we have Mountaintop Boys Home, and I work closely with those facilities to see what their tutoring needs are, whether they want someone to come to their facility to provide tutoring for their students that reside there, or whether they want us to provide that at the schools. And so we have had that in place all school year long, and we're getting good feedback from those. You can testify for me back there because they represent the cottage, and so I work with them closely. The next thing, which is a brand new action step this year, is that we're providing mentors for our neglected students. So I was reading in depth last year about allowances for Title I, and something popped out to me that had never popped out before, that we're allowed to fund with Title I funds mentors to support those students. And they're going through so much trauma, and they're not with their families. We just felt like some of the things that you're talking today about helping those kids make a change, that they didn't have to be the way that they've always known, that there are other options. So this year we are funding mentors at each of our facilities, Mountaintop Boys Home and the cottage. And so it was a process to make sure we found the right people through recommendations, making sure that that was something they were willing to do. We're funding their travel, we're funding their time at the facilities, and making sure that they have onboarding for mentoring training and that they also have onboarding at the facility. And so all of those things have happened at this point, and they have started their mentoring services. So I'm getting nothing but great feedback on that. So I think that's an amazing action step that's been put in place this year. Also, family engagement, they piggyback off of, well, there was one goal that was specifically for family engagement, but they also have a goal to target ELA, because if you can help students be effective readers, then that's also going to have a positive impact in science, in social studies, in math with word problems. So it's going to affect all the areas. So our goal for family engagement is that we want to see that growth in our reading score by the end of the year. And so all of our family engagement coordinators are sending home tools to help with reading achievement, teaching the parents what they can do at home to help with that reading score, offering activities that have a reading focus. And so all of those have been put in place, and that is going as planned for this school year. And then another thing that I focus on is the ESOL department. We talked last time that there is a huge influx of newcomers coming into the area from a variety of countries. We're seeing here lately it's been Colombia. We have a lot from Honduras. We have some from El Salvador. We have a lot coming from India, and we're starting to see a lot of refugees from Kazakhstan coming. And so we are providing additional support for our teachers that are working with ESOL students. We have put into place for our younger kids a program called Little Sponges, where that's helping them with English language acquisition, because a lot of them don't speak any English. And so the teachers have become really frustrated. They don't know what to do with the kids. They can only take so much of the classroom environment, and they don't understand anything. So that program is being put into place with our younger kids so that they can be learning English after we focus on teaching them just a few things that we really, really, really need them to learn. And then we have Duolingo. Some of you are familiar with that. It's becoming very popular, but they have a free program for schools. So we're putting that into place for our older kids that know how to read and write in their native language. And then our high schools are working really closely with our newcomer students, where we're using Edgenuity, the online learning, because they can get credit in like not ELA, not English, but in all the other subjects, they can take those courses online in Spanish or in Gujarati or whatever their home language is and get credit, so they're not getting far behind in their learning and can graduate with their same age peers with their cohort. Um, and then also we received Title III funds that we're using to focus to provide extra support for our high school ESOL students to give them supplemental curriculum so that they can learn their content while they're also focusing on the academic vocabulary in English, because we've got to build that vocabulary up. Some of those are larger, unfamiliar words to them. So we also provide an extra layer of training for the teachers at Ridgeland High School where those funds go to help them understand cultural diversity and how to communicate with the parents, strategies they can put into place in the classroom to add to their instructional strategies. And then we also have family engagement at another level for Title III parents where we meet at least 4 times a year. And I work very closely with Ms. Paula Stennett, who is our ESOL teacher at Ridgeland High School, and she does a fabulous job helping with documentation, planning those events, getting parents involved, doing home visits. She's phenomenal. So that talks about the things that I'm primarily responsible for in the district in our district improvement plan. The next section's on Robin Samples, and she had multiple engagements to go to today, so I'm going to cover her slides for her. She is our curriculum director here in Walker County Schools, and she is also the person that oversees our academic coaches. This is a huge thing that we put a lot of funds from our title programs into supporting the salaries and resources for our academic coaches. We have them serving as a district team. They serve all 15 schools, and they look at the school improvement plans and the district improvement plans, and they work with teachers, all the paraprofessionals, the administrators, and figure out strategies, professional learning that they can offer at the schools to help them reach those goals. A huge thing over the last 2 years in Walker County is Orton Gillingham. We have spent a ton of federal funds to help us with multi-sensory instruction for learning phonics and reading and writing. And I have a really quick video to show you. And this is actually here in Walker County. You're going to see in action.
Why the Walker County Schools go with Orton Gillingham? We looked at multiple data sources, and with COVID, we realized there was some learning loss, especially with our second and third grade students. They missed that crucial year of kindergarten. So looking at the data, we determined that we really needed some type of preventive strategies or something that our teachers could use in the classroom to fulfill that learning loss. I was trained in the Orton Gillingham Phonics program in the summer of 2022. And then that next August, which would be last school year, I started using the program. I love the program. I think that it's very engaging and interactive. It's easier to keep their attention because they have to, there's a call and response, there are active parts of it where they have to actually be doing things, and I feel like it just keeps them engaged more. With my third graders, we had quite a few jump up several reading levels last year. Even just halfway through the year, they were already jumping up reading levels. And then with my lower grades, they've gone into the next grade level with a lot more foundational skills in phonics than they had before the program. So teachers are trained in 7 different areas of reading, beginning with phonemic awareness, multisensory strategies, coding and decoding of words for students, and also in the areas of fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. I took the training last summer, so the summer of 2022, and then I implemented it in my classroom the school year of 2022. I've seen big changes with struggling students. They've been able to crack the code and become more confident in learning to read. I think the kids really benefit from the explicit instruction that they are receiving daily with OG techniques. I love the fact that Walker County Schools not only invest in their students' education, but their teachers' education as well. So we are very excited. We have 252 elementary and middle
and excited that I was given the opportunity to be trained and actually utilize Bellingham. I just love seeing the growth in my students. I love how it helps the students get a really good foundation for reading that they can carry on throughout their education.
So not only have we done the training and it's being implemented in the classrooms, but I'm really excited that as a district leadership team, we've been going out into the schools and conducting classroom observations, and it's like magic. I can't even explain what it's like to see Orton Gillingham in actually being done in the classrooms. And it didn't matter whether we were at Fairland, Rossville Elementary, Naomi Elementary, or Gilbert. Like, the teachers were teaching the same. They're like synchronized, and the kids everywhere know what the different symbols mean, what the different little hand movements mean. They know how to use the sand. So it doesn't matter if we have the transient students that are moving from one school to the next. They literally can just pick up where they left off at the next school. It has been phenomenal. So you can tell that that is something we're extremely proud of in this county that is making a huge difference. Then the next initiative has to do with math, because that's the other really core subject in our schools. So we have a new curriculum called Illustrative Math, and we just had a whole bunch of training on this right before we came back to school from Christmas break. So it's really fresh with our teachers, and we're really excited to see where that goes. We're a year behind Orton Gillingham with the illustrative math, so we're hoping even next year we'll have even more fabulous things to share with you about those new math standards and that new curriculum that's being released. It says here that we've done the professional development. We've bought math manipulatives so that they can actually implement what we're training them to do. And then we have assessments and online resources that we've purchased with that program as well. I believe she has another slide. We also saw the need to streamline what we call the MTSS process across the district. That is the process we have in place to identify struggling learners, apply interventions a little bit at a time, and then increase them as we see whether it's working or not working. And then ultimately, if all of our interventions are not working, then we proceed with doing some assessments to see if there's something else going on cognitively that we're not aware of that we can provide other interventions for. So we've just streamlined that across the district. We're working on that this year. We're continuing to use the MAP benchmarks to show growth in ELA and math, and that's what our goals are based on. So it gives us lots of really good feedback to see where the gaps are in students' learning to help us know what interventions we need to apply on a student-by-student basis. And then we have teacher mentor programs at each school. We have district expectations where we do district monitoring, but it is carried out at the school level. Where new teachers are new to whatever they're teaching that year, they are provided with mentors, regular meetings, observations, feedback, support. So those have been put in place, and we monitor it at the district level. So we're getting great feedback on that from our new teachers as well. Then we have Glenn Brown, our Director of Student Services, here with us, and he's going to talk to you about this slide. These are things that he is taking the lead role on implementing and overseeing.
Thank you, Ms. Ince. Leadership is the rudder that steers every vessel, and that's true for your organizations. Of course, that's true in schools as well. The principal makes decisions, and it guides the whole school. The superintendent makes decisions. It guides the whole district. In Walker County Schools, like many of your organizations, we got about 50% of our current leaders that are within 5 years of retirement. So we are always working on continuous leadership development, and that is part of Mr. Rain's vision through our Leader Academy. We're currently on our 6th cohort. We've had 5 previous cohorts. About 65% of those people from cohorts 1 through 5 have already moved into administration. When you go back to our first Leader Academy cohort, 85% of those people are working in administration. So we're sowing the seed, we're fertilizing, we're watering, and we're seeing tremendous returns from that. We've changed up every one of these cohorts to be more dynamic, to be more personal, and to be more engaging. And one of the great things we've done with cohort 6 is that every session we offer, and we meet monthly, we go to a different school. So previously, everybody came here, and we had our directors, our coordinators, and principals would come here, and they would hear information. Now, we're going to those schools. They're starting with a tour by the principal, and they're seeing these different facilities. It's engaging principals with our academy, and potential APs and potential academic coaches. And it's really bringing a great level of communication across the whole transmission of Walker County schools. So we're very excited about that. This is a vision Mr. Raines brought with him when he started as superintendent, and we're excited to be in our 6th cohort. We also do a new principal support every month. It's called a Principal PLC, Professional Learning Community, and we meet monthly with all of our principals that have 3 years or less experience. Right now, that's 6 out of our 15 principals. So we've got a lot going on with that. These principals are fantastic. Many of them were in Walker County Schools as teachers and assistant principals. And as we continue to bond, we're also going to schools, letting them see facilities they've never seen before. And we're developing what's going on with their classes, with their test scores, with their student behavior, with their academic supports that are in place. And these are great meetings that have shown a lot of growth and accelerated growth with our principals. We do the same thing with our assistant principals. Although we don't meet monthly, we meet quarterly with them. And we also have our district organizational chart. We talked about this a little bit earlier this year. We're in the final steps of formalizing that and publishing it out. We do a great job of having a natural flow of information. The water is always moving downhill, but we want to be more intentional with communicating that above the water line and letting folks know if this, then that. And while our leaders are aware of that, we want our community to be informed of that as well. So that's kind of where we are from the student services side of leadership development in the district. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer those right now or later. Thank you, Vicente.
Thank you. Something new that's not been shared before is based on our free and reduced lunch results that came in just last month. A lot of the feedback that I get is, why does a lot of this seem to affect our younger kids and not our older kids? Well, next year, our 2 high schools will also be Title I schools. So we're gonna need some help to come up with goals to help our older kids now. Not that we weren't helping our older kids before, but they were getting extra federal support through CTAE programs that help them with different pathways that they could go into at the high school level. They had other types of grants like that, but they are now going to be recipients of Title I funds. So right now I'm starting the process of working with our high schools. I've worked with them to a minimal degree to help them get used to coming up with goals for their schools and action steps so they're familiar with the process. But starting this year, we're going to really be digging in deep. They're going to be forming community groups where they're actually going to be forming teams to look at their data, to find out where those gaps are, to figure out where these funds can be applied to help grow our high school students academically. So I'm really excited about that new adventure. And so we are looking for ideas, suggestions from the community perception. What are some things that we can do to help support our high school students academically beyond what we're already doing? All right, so that completes our midpoint progress update. If you have questions at this time, I can try to find those answers or write them down so I can get those answers for you. Or if you have feedback about the presentation or anything, you write it down on the paper in front of you. If you're more comfortable virtually, you're welcome to scan the QR code and leave it electronically that way. But either way, we are begging for your feedback on either how the presentation went, or if you have ideas from your perception as business partners, stakeholders in our school system, we would appreciate that. Don't forget, if you are watching this recording, use the QR code or use the link above, and you can leave your feedback for us digitally.